Hi everybody, welcome to the newest edition of Book Scoop. I'm Priscilla.
I'm Martsje.
And I'm Sarah.
And I'm going to be talking about an adult historical mystery.
I'm going to be talking about a young adult mystery and a children's mystery.
And I have a book that's appropriate for kids in probably 3rd through 7th grade, and it's about animals.
Cool. So I picked this book because of the title, which is Because I Could Not Stop for Death. What more do I need to say? And I am such a non-literary person that even though it said an Emily Dickinson mystery, I did not realize that that was a line from one of her poems.
Oh.
So,
I wouldn't have known it.
Yeah. This is a historical mystery set in prior to the Civil War. Features Emily Dickinson as the detective and her maid. I love historical mysteries, which is really odd because I don't really like historical fiction. but it does what a historical mystery should do, and particularly ones that use characters we know or real people that we know. It helps us know that person, it helps us know the time period, and it still has an enthralling mystery in it. And it makes me want to read more about Emily Dickinson. I have never considered myself an Emily Dickinson fan because when I read her poems, I'm like, what? I don't get it. And yet I hear intriguing things about her that make me feel like I want to know her more, and this book did that also. I am not so sure that how she is portrayed in this book is how she actually was in life. She's a little more adventurous, a little bolder, but still a very interesting take on Emily Dickinson. And being pre-Civil War, there's a lot of slavery themes throughout this book, which it just has a lot to offer, as well as being a riveting read. So Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Amanda Flowers, the first in a new mystery series featuring Emily Dickinson. Great choice, I think. Cool.
All right, first I will talk about The Case of the Missing Auntie by Michael Hutchinson. It's a children's mystery, and the 4 detectives are Native American children. And this is a series, the second book in the series, and they are solving the mystery of their missing grandfather's sister. In the 1950s, she has been, scooped up by the government, and nobody knows where she went and what happened. And they solve the mystery, not by action or whatever, but by being very clever investigators. It is not really a page turner, but because thinking solves the mystery, and it has some nice themes extra in it, like the differences between the countryside and the big city. Whom can you trust in a big city, and whom can you not trust? And what I also liked in it is that the adults are very much part of the children's lives.
That's nice.
In most, when I was a kid and I read those kind of mystery books, it was always the kids against the adults,
Right.
and then they were cleverer. And that's not the case in this. So I think it's an interesting read, and it gives a historical perspective about, what happened in earlier times.
Yeah.
The second one is a young adult mystery called Nothing More to Tell by Karen McManus. And if you are looking for a page turner with clues that turn out completely different than you think, and maybe a hint of romance also, this is your book. It's about a girl in junior high last year, senior high, who is determined to solve the mystery of a murdered professor 3 years ago. And it as it seems in the beginning, it gets completely turned upside down. And there is some adults in there that turn out to be very different than they seemed in the beginning. It's fast-paced, and the development of the characters pushes the story forward. So you get to know the characters really well.
Mm-hmm. And all of her books are like that. If you have not read any Karen McManus books, they're all, like, if you're looking for suspense and mystery and intrigue and twisty-turny, all of her books are like that. They're very good. Yeah. I read Otter with D's, not Otter. Otter by Catherine Applegate, and it's about an otter. It is a book, a novel in verse, so it's all poems is the story. Now, when you hear poems, don't think like, it's rhyming at the end or anything like that. It tells the story, but in verse, and so it's a very quick read. It's easy to understand. Priscilla always says of novel in verse, like, you can see it better, you experience it better, because the author is using the words to draw a picture for you. It's just so much easier to imagine what's going on in the story. So we meet Otter, and Otter has a friend. They're in the ocean. They encounter a shark, so there's some concern about what happens, and then we go back in time. We don't know what happens yet. We go back in time to when Otter was just born, and he's with mom, she is with mom, and we experience some of Otter's growing up time, and then we come back to the current day again, and then there's a coda at the end for 6 months later for what happened. It's a great story. It's about family, that you can, take this Otter's family and kind of think about it with people also. It's fun, it's silly in some parts, it's sad in some parts, but it's a great book. Catherine Applegate is an excellent writer, and we love her books. If you don't get a chance to read this one, please choose another one to read. But Otter is a great choice. I would say definitely 4th through 6th grade, but 3rd graders, if they're at a higher reading level, maybe, and 7th graders, especially if you love animals, this is a great book.
I just want to say, the thing about novels and verses is that the poetry can convey emotions in such a way you feel. Yes. That sometimes it's harder to do in prose.
Right, yes, yeah, and that is certainly true here. Yeah. So that was Otter by Catherine Applegate.
Wow, great. I think good choices for September. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next month.
Bye.